From Interior Alaska's most trusted news source, this is the Fbx Evening News.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. Our top story this evening, more details in the case of a 26-year-old Fairbanks man accused of sexually abusing his 4-year-old daughter.
Kevin Pickett appeared today in Fairbanks District Court, his defense attorney asking to hold off on bail proceedings. According to court documents, employees with Fairbanks Memorial Hospital contacted Alaska State Troopers after the 4-year-old girl was brought there, claiming her father had abused her after being with him for the past week. During recorded conversations, Pickett made admissions the child was not lying and that he had, quote, took Ambien and wasn't in his right mind, end quote, when the abuse did occur.
A 53-year-old Delta Junction man accused of sexually abusing a young girl with his wife has been released on bail and further left the state. Daniel Jensen and his 54-year-old wife Diane Jensen are charged with multiple counts of felony sex abuse, which allegedly took place between 2002 and 2003 in both Delta and Anchorage. Both have posted bail and are in custody of a third party. Daniel was granted permission from the courts to leave the state to attend his father's funeral. Today, Daniel's lawyer asked for more days out of state, citing inability to book tickets for him and his third-party custodian. District Attorney Joe Dallaire today criticized the decision to allow Jensen more time, further stating he was a flight risk due to the severity of the allegations against him.
This is probably one of the most morally reprehensible cases that I've had the unfortunate opportunity to come across in my time as a prosecutor. He's out right now on $10,000, basically. He's out on a 10% posting of a $100,000 bond with a third-party custodian. This individual was born in 1960. That would make, he'll be 54 years old this year. He's facing multiple unclassified felony counts. If he is convicted, Your Honor, quite honestly, he's probably looking at spending the rest of his life in jail. That's what he's looking at. And he's out right now on $10,000. The rest of your life in jail or $10,000.
A Fairbanks man has been indicted on multiple counts of sexual abuse of a child. 55-year-old Bobby Gray Nishukpuk has been charged with 7 counts of child sexual abuse in the first degree and additional charges, including unlawful exploitation of a minor. Now, according to documents, Nishukpuk allegedly abused a single victim between the years of 2005 and 2013. Records say the abuse occurred annually in the month of August. A no-bail warrant was issued Thursday for Nishukpuk's arrest.
An unidentified suspect ran from troopers after a vehicle pursuit through Fairbanks last evening. According to a release, Alaska State Troopers attempted to stop the vehicle, a 1996 Saturn, on University Avenue last evening when the driver took off at high speeds. Numerous troopers reportedly attempted to stop the vehicle, and the pursuit continued into downtown Fairbanks. Troopers used spike strips to stop the vehicle, and the driver took off on foot. Now, passengers inside the vehicle were detained. However, the driver was unable to be apprehended. Trooper spokeswoman Megan Peters said via email 5 people were in the vehicle, and troopers now know the identity of the suspect. No one has been charged, however. The vehicle has been impounded. An investigation continues, and the News Center will update this story with details as they become available.
The morning commute was slowed down by a 3-vehicle accident at the intersection of Geist Road and Fairbanks Street. At 7:30 this morning, a Nissan Altima crashed into a van stopped at a red light. The impact was so strong that airbags deployed inside the van after it was pushed into another vehicle. The man driving the Nissan was extricated from his car and taken to Fairbanks Memorial Hospital. Troopers say they are unsure how fast the car was traveling.
Well, he was brought out on the backboard. The airbag deployed on the white car and the airbag deployed on the van. The drivers in the van and the red car, no injuries whatsoever. Everybody, those 2 were wearing their seatbelts. I don't know his status if he was wearing his seatbelt this time.
Okay, when we come back, Don Young talks to the students of the University of Alaska Fairbanks.
Also, men are putting on high heels for a good cause. Are you interested?
Yes.
4-inch heels, 6-inch heels?
Who knows?
That story and more coming up next. And welcome back to the Fbx Evening News. Representative Don Young is making his monthly visit to the state, and today he stopped in to Fairbanks to say hello. For the first time, he sat down with students at Fairbanks Focus where he could let his guard down and share a casual conversation. After addressing important state issues like energy and federal regulations, the conversation moved on to topics of new technology and changing culture. Representative Young says he's frustrated that people drive with cell phones and he wishes they didn't work in cars.
and say, okay, it does not work. The car either has a barrier, that could be probably well done, because I remember the old cars we had, if you give me the generator up, the radio didn't work. You see,
Yeah.
it didn't run.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, everybody says, well, he's just old-fashioned, doesn't know what he's talking about. There's nothing that important that you couldn't wait till you're stopped, the car's off, and then you make the call, the call's made to you.
And we survived this long without it.
Without it, and yet
Fairbanks Focus airs Sunday mornings on KTVF Channel 11. The producers say they are looking for more UAF students to join the crew. For information, contact Robert Prince with UAF Journalism Department.
Warm weather is helping crews plow the only road into Denali National Park and Preserve. The road opened today to all traffic for the first 30 miles of the 92-mile road. The road has been cleared as far as 60 miles into the park, but traffic has to stop at mile 30. People can park there and hike or bike further into the park. Weather permitting, park officials say people will be allowed to drive the first 30 miles into the park until tour buses begin running on May 20th. Now after that, normal rules will apply, meaning the road is closed to private vehicles at mile 15.
Members with the Interior Alaska Center for Nonviolent Living are hosting a unique event to raise awareness for what they call a growing epidemic. We have more now on who is walking and in what for a good cause. It's called Walk a Mile in Her Shoes, and the cause is to raise awareness for violence against both men and women in our state and nationwide. However, you won't be seeing a normal walking shoe in this event.
It's a domestic violence and sexual assault awareness event, so men will be walking a mile in high heels to raise awareness for those issues in our community.
That's right. Men will be putting on those 4-inch heels for this cause, which ultimately symbolizes the understanding of women and what they may go through while involved in domestic, sexual, or other abuse, which organizers say is important to bring to light.
It's very important. Fairbanks ranks very high for statistics throughout the nation for domestic violence and sexual assault, so it's really important that we get new people involved in combating the epidemic here in Fairbanks.
It might not be easy to convince men to put on heels, but the folks putting on the event say they've really honed in on their skills.
Well, I've noticed that you can't just ask them once. My nagging skills have definitely improved throughout planning this event. Most men initially will say no, they don't want to walk in high heels, but after you tell them what the cause is for, pretty much everybody is willing to do it.
To participate, you can sign up online in advance or the day of the event, which is April 26th from 2 to 5 p.m.
So we're just going to be doing 4 laps around the Southers parking lot so everybody can be kind of contained for the first year. We are going to have a DJ and we're going to have lots of good music there. There's going to be foot massages available for anybody who participates, and anybody who participates or volunteers will get barbecue as well.
Lastly, volunteers say that if you are experiencing a violent situation, Fairbanks has many outlets to turn to.
Fairbanks has a lot of resources. The Interior Alaska Center for Nonviolent Living offers so many resources for victims, for perpetrators, for women or children who need help, who need a safe place, and I highly recommend that they call the shelter and get some help.
This is Stephanie Woodard reporting.
The University of Alaska Fairbanks hosted the United States District Court to help 71 immigrants become official U.S. citizens today. The ceremony convened inside the university's Davis Concert Hall with Magistrate Judge Scott Orovic presiding. 71 immigrants currently living in Alaska raised their right hands to take the oath of allegiance, renouncing any previous ties they had with other countries, and affirm their duties as a citizen of the United States. This is the second year the naturalization ceremony has taken place at the University of Alaska Fairbanks. After the new citizens obtained their official certificates, Judge Orovic gave the group a closing statement.
Exercise your rights under all the amendments. Write a letter to your congressman or congresswoman. Write a letter to your senator. Go see him or her next time they're in town. Go talk to them and share your viewpoint.
All right, Joe Cook is next with sports, and he brings you what's coming up in the interior this weekend.
That's right. Also, a local basketball player signs to her college today.
All that and more when Joe comes up next.
Hello, Interior Alaska. Joe Cook here in the sports seat for you this evening. Let's get your weekend going with some sports. Today at Hutchinson High School, senior forward Vanessa Hastings signed her national letter of intent. She'll still be a Bird. Hastings signed with the Highline Community College Thunderbirds of the NWA ACC. Highline is in Des Moines, Washington, near Seattle. The Thunderbirds went 19-11 overall and were 10-6 in their division for a berth into the women's tournament last season. Hastings could face former teammate Mimi Wood, who is at Skagit CC. Skagit and Highline played each other last season. Hastings was a post presence on both sides of the ball for the Hutchinson Hawks, playing a role as a post defender and rebounder. The Hawks finished third in the Aurora Conference this season. She's battled injuries throughout her career as a basketball and volleyball player, but will move on to become a Thunderbird. Head coach Amber Mosley of Highline was able to convince Hastings to come to Des Moines.
They have good academics, and it just kind of, like, when she talked to me, it just kind of clicked. I felt like she was, like, really straightforward and honest, and she really wanted me to go there. So yeah, it's a pretty good feeling to know that. I mean, it came off of a couple injuries, but none of that really stopped me. So just keep going.
She took the initiative to go out there and contact coaches and get a profile out there, and she did a lot of work.
Very proud. This was something she did it all on her own, so we're very proud of her.
And this week we previewed the Lathrop boys soccer team. Now let's see what the girls team is bringing back and hoping to do this soccer season. Coming into the 2014 season, the Lathrop girls soccer team will hang their hats, or should I say soccer cleats, on defense. The Mutes finished last in the MAC last year.
I think we generally always try and put a strong defense on the field, but you know, I think we've got a good set of 4 starters that have strong talent and strong defensive mind and strong defensive presence. And you know, we'll get there offensively. We'll figure that kind of stuff out, but it starts with keeping the other team from getting on the scoreboard.
But what about the offense? Tiny Raymond, a senior, she keeps it simple.
Score a lot more, I guess. We have a good defense. I think we need to take more shots.
It'll be a smaller and younger Lathrop team on the pitch. About 16 total players are on the roster, but a lot of familiar faces come back, including sophomore captain Carly Fitzgerald.
We only have a few new players. We have most of the same team as last year, like minus a few seniors, and I think we can do pretty well as long as we just like keep working and like keep improving. I think we'll have a good shot this year.
Head coach Danny Gibson believes his team has the potential to be in every game this year.
We're always looking to win, but number one, I want to be competitive in every game. I think an interesting thing this year that started last year was I think it's pretty even across the board on the girls' side here in the interior. All the programs are right there at about the same level, and it's going to be an interesting year. I think there's going to be a lot of really close and exciting games to come watch.
The Mutes open the year on the road, taking on Colony, Wasilla, and Palmer this weekend. And the Lathrop girls start their season well, winning 2-0 over Colony last night. In their season opener, the Mutes got 2 goals in the second half, one by Michaela Triplehorn, the other from Alexis Shipman. Triplehorn also got the shutout for Lathrop, getting a big save in the second half to deny a late rally from the Knights. The boys were on the opposite side of the scoreboard as the Colony boys cruised to a 6-0 victory. Freshman goalie Jake Carlson of Lathrop had 20 saves against the number 2 team in Alaska. Both Lathrop squads take on the Wasilla Warriors tonight. Even if some of the fields aren't ready for spring sports, there's one that's happening this weekend inside. There will be a high school gymnastics dual meet at 4 tomorrow at Gymnastics Inc. The last interior gymnastics competition was in 2012. Hutchinson, Lathrop, North Pole, and West Valley will compete this year. Also tomorrow at 11 a.m. will be the mini B track meet at North Pole High School with field and track events. And for the runners, the 34th annual Toke Trot takes place at 1 p.m. at the Toke Visitor Center at Pioneer Park. At 2 o'clock will be the start of the 5th annual Run for Relief. Saturday evening, the Colden Hart Junior Derby and Fairbanks Roller Girls will have a doubleheader starting at 6 p.m. at the Carlson Center, taking on the Raven Rebels. A portion of the proceeds goes towards the Fairbanks Children's Museum. Then at 7:30 in the Big Dipper, Game 2 of the Midwest Division Finals, best of 5 series between the Wenatchee Wild and Fairbanks Ice Dogs. Now we end Friday's Sportscast with the Play of the Week. No surprise here, Kyle Lee comes back from a shoulder injury for his first full game of the Midwest Division semifinal series against Kenai River Brown Bears and scores a game-winning overtime goal for the Ice Dogs in Game 5 as they win 3-2 over Kenai, keeping the Ice Dogs season alive and vaulting them into the division final series against the Wenatchee Wild. To pick the next Play of the Week, just watch KTVF 11 Sports on Mondays for the I-5 Interior Top 5 plays during the weekend recap. And that's it for Sports at 6, but come back tonight for Ice Dogs playoff highlights and more. Your full weather forecast is next, and we'll catch you next time.
Hey everyone, welcome back to our newscast this evening. Mike Schultz with you once again, taking a look at the weather. And we have all the signs that spring is definitely here. We have our showers, we have our melting snow, and now we have our first mosquitoes being reported. This one taken by James Petrick right there in his car, and he was able to get a picture of that big one. That's a pretty good sized mosquito, and it shows you that we are definitely taking the turn toward early summer, late spring. Again, as always, you have a photograph to share. Send it to photos@ktvf11.com. Your numbers look like this. Normal high 44, today's high 52. Normal low 20, last night's low 19. Record high 58. That was set in 1915. Record low 12 below in 1914. And your sunrise and sunset 15 hours and 13 minutes. That's a gain of 7 minutes from yesterday. On our satellite radar, again, you can see moisture moving across from the east to the west. Little pockets of moisture, not quite as widespread as it was yesterday. There's a lot more energy moving across the southern sections down to below the Alaska range, but nothing really expected here, and it's going to get even better through the weekend. What's going on across the rest of the state? Well, for the most part, cloudy skies over southeast Alaska. They're expecting more rain in the forecast there. Cloudy skies over the Gulf of Alaska. A little fog around the Nome area, 30 degrees there. Barrow 24 and Fort Yukon at 37. Lower 48 weather, here's what it looks like. And again, we're looking at that satellite and radar, and you can see a lot of energy moving across the Minneapolis area, finally getting out of the snow situation. But the big news today is all the energy that's moving across the eastern half of the country, bringing widespread snow, and that is going to continue. It's not snow, but rain, heavy rainfall, some of it severe thunderstorm activity too. Also, the world weather hotspot, look at this. In Africa, they had 14 inches of rain in 24-hour period. A lot of flooding going on there, and that is pretty interesting. Our jet stream next week is showing, again, most of the energy way up to the north with hot temperatures and dry conditions over the western half of the country and to the east also. Well, back to Alaska for the borrow. In the northern sections, looks like this. Flurry is expected for Barrow. Increasing clouds for Nome, and afternoon showers are possible in the Fort Yukon area. Here in the interior, we're looking at sunny skies by afternoon for all three locations, and the temperature is right around 51 degrees at Fairbanks. Over southeast Alaska, for the most part, scattered showers for Juneau, but periods of rain will continue off and on for the Ketchikan area. Over the southwest part of the state, mixed showers for Cold Bay and Kodiak, and scattered showers for Bethel. And if you're heading on down to the Anchorage Bowl, it looks like partly cloudy skies in Anchorage and Homer, maybe some showers in the Valdez area. All right, our weather fact for tonight, this one is an interesting one. In 1970, Rapid City, South Dakota had 22 inches of snow in a 2-day period. Winter didn't want to let go that year. Again, thanks to Mount McKinley Bank. And a reminder, next week we'll be back with the kids. In fact, we'll be visiting once again with the kids from Crawford Elementary School, and we'll look forward to that. All right, here's your forecast for the remainder of the night. Look at that warm temperature, 31 degrees for the overnight low. Occasional rain and snow showers are possible. Tomorrow's forecast, again, 51 degrees, decreasing clouds, and lots of sunshine by afternoon. And as far as our 5-day outlook, look at the temperatures. 52 degrees on Saturday, 46 for Sunday and Monday of next week. And the overnight lows will again be right around the low to mid-20s each day. So off and on showers, but out of the picture for the most part by next week.
I have nothing to say about that. I'm happy.
Yeah, in fact, we could be looking at temperatures near 60 degrees by the end of next week.
So, but I do have something to say to you three males.
All right.
Okay.
You three men who walk well in your flat shoes. Maybe you should try walking well in high heels for the cause.
Okay.
I'm just challenging
the thing
you.
is, I have big feet, so that's not gonna.
They'll provide your sizes.
Nah, I'm good on that. I'm good on that.
I think you should do it. I think they would hook you up with a really good pair of shoes.
Yeah.
When is it happening?
Look, they're so chicken, these
I
guys.
didn't say anything. When is it happening?
Next Saturday, the 26th.
We will.
I think there's something I have to do next week.
Oh, Joe.
We shall consider it, Stephanie.
Good, I think you should.
That'll wrap up this edition of the Fairbanks Evening News. We are glad you could join us.
NBC Nightly News with Brian Williams is coming up next.
You can join us here 6 days a week at 6 and 11 or online anytime at webster11.com in flat shoes.
And that will do it from all of us here at the News Center. Have a great weekend, everyone. And we'll see you back here again at 11.
How about some pumps?
Pumps are good.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.